I found out I was pregnant at the same time as my mafia husband's childhood sweetheart Rosa. To protect her baby from being aborted by her parents, my husband claimed her baby as his own. As for mine, he coxed me, saying he will claim only after her baby was born. I confronted him, demanding to know why he would do this to me. His response was cold and unwavering. Claiming her baby as mine was the only way to protect them both. I won't let anything happen to her or the child. In that moment, as I looked at the man I had loved for 10 years, I realized my love for him had died. Not long after, my family condemned me, calling me a slut for having a child without a father and pressured me into getting an abortion. Meanwhile, my husband was in another city with his sweetheart helping her through her pregnancy. By the time he returned, I was already gone. I found out that my husband was accompanying his childhood sweetheart Rosa for her pregnancy checkup at my regular hospital this afternoon. Vincent, our baby looks so cute on the monitor. From the crack in the door, I saw Vincent's face lit up with a smile. Rosa was pointing at the monitor, and Vincent nodded, smiling back at her. If I didn't know that man was my husband, the father of my baby, I would have sworn they were a couple, happy and in love. Isabella Caruso, the doctor is ready for your examination, the nurse called. Vincent turned, his face drained of color, his eyes scanning the hallway. He must have heard my name. When his eyes landed on me, his mouth opened, but no words came out. I had been happily married to Vincent Falcone, my mafia husband, for nearly 10 years. This year, I was finally pregnant with his child. He of all people should know how difficult it is for me to have the baby now. How could he do this to me? I slowly walked toward him, my heart boiling with fury, anger, and the deep sadness of realizing how much I had been lied to. Is that why you told me you couldn't come to my appointment today? I tried to keep my voice steady, but the anger surged, making it impossible to control. Without thinking, I raised my hand and slapped Vincent hard across the face. It was the first time I had ever lashed out at him like this. Yet even after I slapped him, he stood there, silent, avoiding my gaze. Your silence isn't helping, Vincent. You owe me an explanation. Vincent didn't move, but Rosa, who had been standing behind him, stepped forward, shielding him from my anger. Mrs. Falcone, Isabella, right? She said, her voice shaking. Blame it all on me. Vincent did nothing wrong. It was my mistake, Isabella. I'm the one who got pregnant. Blamed it all on you, huh? I scoffed, the bitterness in my voice clear. I was a tough woman, but even so, tears streamed down my face. As if my tears had triggered something in him, Vincent finally stepped past Rosa and pulled me into his arms. Don't cry, Isabella. The baby isn't mine, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. I froze. What? But then, Rosa spoke. She winked her innocent big eyes at Vincent. Vincent, didn't you promise to protect my baby by claiming it as your own? Why are you telling her now? Protect her baby? What the hell was going on? I broke free from Vincent's arms and stared at him. What the fuck is happening right now, Vincent? What the hell is she talking about? Vincent! Rosa called him too, clearly trying to stop him from saying anything more. But Vincent didn't hesitate. Isabella's my wife. She deserves to know. All right. Rosa's tear-filled eyes locked onto mine. If you really need to know, Isabella, Vincent decided to claim my baby as his, so he might not be able to claim yours. Vincent's face drained of color, but he stayed silent, offering no correction. But don't worry, Rosa continued, her tone suddenly sweet as she reached for my hand, her fingers hovering just above mine. Vincent said that even he can't claim your baby now. He'll adopt once you've given birth. Our baby will belong to the Falcone name, she added, her voice dripping with faux sincerity. I swear I saw a brief smirk twist her lips, but it was gone before I could be sure. I turned to Vincent, still silent, his head bowed as if he couldn't bear to look at me. Is this true, Vincent? My voice wavered as I forced the question out. You're going to give up on our baby to save hers? I'm sorry, Isabella, he whispered, his voice hoarse, barely audible. Tears welled up again. Is her baby so important to you that you'd abandon ours? Vincent hesitated, the pause slicing through me like a blade. You don't understand about Rosa's family, he murmured, his words coming slow and measured. Rosa's parents wouldn't dare defy me, and since they've made it clear they'll only accept this child as mine if I have no other heir to my name, I can't claim our baby now, at least not until Rosa's baby was born. He looked at me as if he were standing up for a noble cause, as if every word he said was justified. But the logic behind it was almost laughable. The one thing Vincent was right about was that no one dared to mess with him, not in the South at least. He was a mafia kingpin, involved in arms dealing and drug trafficking. Even though my family had dealt with mafias, owning a few casinos, we were small fry compared to Vincent. That's why, when my parents found out he was my lover, they practically shoved me down the aisle toward him. Vincent, ever the cold, commanding figure, only showed his softer side to me. But today, I had seen him do the same for Rosa. He reached for me again, his arms outstretched, trying to pull me close. Don't worry, I won't let our baby grow up without a father. Trust me, okay? As soon as Rosa's baby is born, I'll clear your name. After my checkup, Vincent insisted on driving me to dinner. Rosa was eager to tag along. She claimed she was happy she wouldn't be the only one carrying a child now, but I could see through the act. She was trying too hard to play the part of the concerned, supportive friend. How about our regular place? I've been craving their food for quite some time, Rosa suggested as I barely sat down. Vincent sounded too eager. Sounds great. Let's go to the place on 6th Avenue. I kept my expression neutral, though my stomach twisted with unease. Rosa was hiding something behind that too bright smile of hers. Rosa slid into the back seat, her hand instinctively reaching for Vincent's. I was thinking, maybe we could swing by after dinner and pick out some baby clothes. I still haven't found the perfect ones. You wouldn't mind, would you, Isabella? She turned to me, a challenging look in her eyes. I'm all alone now. Vincent's the only one I can count on. How absurd. My husband seemed more like a couple with Rosa than with me. Are you mad at me, Isabella? Rosa blinked up at me, her wide, innocent eyes glinting with something far less pure. You can come with us if you want to. No need, I've already prepared baby clothes back at the mansion. I was done entertaining her. When the car finally pulled to a stop, I stepped out and found myself in front of a Japanese restaurant specializing in sashimi and sushi. Had Vincent forgotten that I never ate raw seafood? Forgotten that, ever since my pregnancy, the smell of it made me sick to my stomach? I don't want to eat seafood. Then, as if a sudden thought occurred to him, Vincent shifted his tone. Oh right, you probably shouldn't have the sashimi. I just remembered you're allergic or something? Sorry, Isabella. Rosa shot me a glance. I've been craving sashimi ever since I got pregnant, she added with a slight shrug. But if you're not in the mood for seafood, we can always switch to another restaurant, I guess. Vincent hesitated as he looked at me, clearly unsure of how to proceed. Well, how about we go and let Rosa pick whatever she wants, then I'll take you to the restaurant you like. I glanced between them. Vincent's insistence felt off, and Rosa's feigned casual concern only made me feel more exposed. I stayed silent, my quiet refusal hanging in the air. Was he going to leave with me now that he remembered I hated seafood? But as the moment stretched, Vincent said nothing. His gaze flickered between Rosa and me, hesitation written all over his face. My patience wore thin. Without another word, I turned and hailed a cab. Forget it. I'm going back to the house to eat. Vincent's voice followed, sharp with irritation rather than concern. Isabella, don't make a scene. We're in public. I didn't bother responding. Instead, I pulled open the car door and, before slipping inside, threw one last parting shot over my shoulder. Enjoy your dinner. Then I got in and slammed the door shut before Vincent could say another word. The cab driver barely had time to ask where I was headed before I barked out the address of the mansion. My hands clenched into fists on my lap and my heart pounded in my chest. Not just from anger, but from something deeper. Something uglier. Vincent hadn't followed me. He hadn't even tried. That should have told me everything I needed to know. I was Vincent's wife, his pregnant wife, but ever since he'd made up mind to protect Rosa's baby, my baby and me became invisible to his eyes. This baby had once been my hope, my dream, after years of waiting. But now I don't think so. I had made a mistake. I never should have had this child if I'd known it would be born into a family like this. A family where the father gives more attention to the other child than his own baby. Vincent had returned to our mansion just when I thought I could finally get some rest, his eyebrows furrowed, clearly troubled by something. He dropped to his knees in front of me as soon as he saw me, and looking as if he was explaining a grand, noble cause, said, "Babe, don't be mad at me, okay?" From what Vincent had told me, he'd been ambushed by Rosa too. He'd been in his car, on the phone negotiating an arms deal with Africa, when Rosa had shown up, her eyes red and swollen from crying. He had no choice but to comfort her. After all, they'd grown up together. She was his childhood sweetheart, and her parents were friends to Vincent's parents too. She told him that if her parents found out about the pregnancy, they would pressure her into aborting it. She wanted to keep her baby. Vincent couldn't let that happen to her, so he agreed to let her say he was the father, at least for now. Apparently, when Rosa's parents heard about it, they weren't upset at all. After all, who wouldn't want a baby when its father was Vincent Falcone? Isabella, I really needed you to trust me on this, he said, pausing for a long moment before continuing. It will be like we are saving a life together. If I do not help her, Rosa's baby will be aborted the moment her parents take her home. So, I didn't let him finish. So you've made up your mind to make our baby fatherless, is that it? So my child will be a bastard, possibly born without a name, with no family to back them up? Vincent took my hands and pressed them to his lips. I'm sorry, Isabella, just a little longer. Once Rosa gives birth, I can take our baby home and claim them as my own. I couldn't just stand there and watch Rosa suffer. I inhaled deeply. Then I guess there's no need for our baby to be born. No. Vincent stood up, his face contorted with anger. Why can't you just understand? I told you I'll claim our baby once Rosa's is born. Why do you have to be so stubborn? You're not giving up on our baby, and I'll help with Rosa's too. End of discussion. Then just like that, he left. Like nothing had happened. The next day, Vincent sent a dozen bodyguards to surround the mansion and a dozen maids to help me. I knew what he was doing, keeping a close watch on me, making sure I didn't do anything to harm our baby. He was afraid. He even took my phone, cutting off any chance of escape. Why insist on having our baby when he'd already chosen Rosa's first? Did Vincent really think I was such a pushover that I just let him do whatever he wanted? Well, screw him. I'm not a puppet, and I sure as hell won't sit back and accept whatever crap he throws my way. Time passed. I was stuck here, and according to Vincent, I was enjoying my pregnancy. One morning, after finishing breakfast, I heard the front door open. Rosa was standing next to a woman I didn't recognize. The minute the woman saw me, she started shooting sarcasm. Someone's looking full of herself. Why would you still cling to the title of Mrs. Falcone when you're clearly messing around with another man and getting pregnant? How shameful. My poor baby girl, she cooed. You must have suffered so much, Rosa. That woman was Rosa's mother? What was she going on about? Me messing around with another man and getting pregnant? I was pregnant with Vincent's child, not her. It was Rosa who was the one messing around and ended up pregnant. I watched as more people followed them inside, carrying bags and boxes. Rosa acted like she owned the place, bossing the maids and workers around as they helped her move her things into one of the empty rooms. Once she was done, she turned to me with a cruel smile. Isabella, she sneered. You thought you won by marrying Vincent, didn't you? Look at me now. I'm standing here, about to sleep in the bed he bought for this mansion. You're nothing, Isabella. I watched as she laughed, her voice dripping with malice. I couldn't hold back the anger anymore. I marched toward her, step by step, and slapped her across the face with all the force I could muster. She screamed as she fell onto the sofa behind her. Just then, Vincent walked in, witnessing the scene. I wasn't done with Rosa. I tolerated her sarcasm for far too long, but that didn't mean she had the right to keep pushing me.